come to the conclusion of the era of the kings. Now, after Joshua led them into the promised land, it was God who wanted to be the king of Israel. He wanted to be their king. We would often say, well, don't you need a human king? No, you have a king who is God himself, and he wanted to be their king. But the people, they could not obey a king they could not see with their eyes. They would not obey a king they could not feel with their hands and hear with their ears. I think we're much the same way, aren't we? Hard to obey someone we can't see. Hard to obey someone we can't touch. Hard to obey someone we can't hear. And that's how they were. There was anarchy in the land. We've gone through all of that. And that anarchy led to violence in the time of the judges, when God would be their king. So they clamored, we've got to have a king who will make us do the right thing, who will threaten us, who will punish us, and make us do the right thing. We need a king with skin on. God said, you're not going to like it. But if that's what you want, I'll give you a king with skin on. And so he did. He gave us Saul, and after Saul, David, and after David, Solomon, and Solomon's son, Rehoboam, made foolish decisions and split the kingdom. And here you see the end of these two kingdoms. On the left are the 10 tribes to the north after the split. On your right, the 2 tribes to the south. They both came to an end. God let the hedges down and allowed Assyria to conquer the 10 tribes to the north, and they have become the 10 lost tribes of Israel. We don't know what happened to them. We never will. The 2 tribes to the south were Benjamin, a very small tribe, and Judah, a much larger tribe. So they just assumed the name Judah as their country continued after the split. Judah, with its capital, Jerusalem. From the word Judah, we get the word Jew. We talk about the Jews, it comes from Judah. But they went the way of their northern brothers and sisters, and by about 600 BC, you see their final kings. Jehoiakim. Then Jehoiachin is to the left because only months did he reign. And finally Zedekiah. You also see the prophets who prophesied, saying, you must repent, or you, like northern Israel, will be destroyed. You see Jeremiah prophesied through that time frame, and so did Habakkuk and Obadiah, Ezekiel at the end of that time frame and into their exile. It's a sad time. Kind of a sad way to begin a new year here at the church. But it's Bible. And it's real. And it's historically accurate. This book, unlike any other book, is absolutely perfectly without error, historically accurate, scientifically accurate, geographically accurate. The history of our world. Now, the era of the kings, from the first one with skin on, Saul, all the way down through to Zedekiah. And until 1948, they never had another king. Never had another chairman, never had another president after Zedekiah. But this history of the kings is found in your Old Testament in what I consider to be 2 volumes. The first volume is made up of 4 books of the Bible. 1st and 2nd Samuel, and 1st and 2nd Kings. That's 1 volume telling the story of the era of the kings. Another volume is 1st and 2nd Chronicles, telling the story of the era of the kings. So you'll read the same historical information in those 2 volumes. Just like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all tell the story of Jesus. But I want you to note how those 2 volumes end. The first volume, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. I want you to go to 2nd Kings with me. Would you do that? Look at 2nd Kings, chapter 25, page 616 in your Pew Bible, 616. 2nd Kings, chapter 25. This is the last chapter in that first volume, if you can call it that. 2 Kings, chapter 25, we'll begin with the last sentence of chapter 24. But now Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. So in the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, marched against Jerusalem with his whole army. He encamped outside the city and built siege works all around it. The city was kept under siege, and you can go on to read that it was leveled after the rebellion. There are actually 2 rebellions, but this being the second. Zedekiah was no more the king of Judah. God's people now had no land to call their own. They'd wanted to live like all the other kingdoms of the earth. God allowed them to live like all the other kingdoms of the earth. The fall of Jerusalem. Now the second volume tells the same story. 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Go to 2nd Chronicles. Go to the very end of 2nd Chronicles, just a few books over, but 2nd Chronicles. Look with me there, chapter 36 and verse 15. Chapter 36, verse 15, page 730 in your Pew Bible. Let's just read it out of the other volume. The same thing. The Lord, the God of their fathers, sent word to them through his messengers again and again, because he had pity on his people and on his dwelling place. He wanted Jerusalem, the temple, to stand. But they mocked God's messengers, despised his words, and scoffed at his prophets until the wrath of the Lord was aroused against his people, and there was no remedy. He brought up against them the king of the Babylons, who killed their young men with the sword in the sanctuary and spared neither young man nor young woman, old man or aged. God handed all of them over to Nebuchadnezzar. He carried to Babylon all the articles from the temple of God, both large and small, and the treasures of the Lord's temple and the treasures of the king and his officials. They set fire to God's temple and broke down the wall of Jerusalem. They burned all the palaces and destroyed everything of value there. And it was over. At least for now. I mean, we've followed this all the way from the Garden of Eden through Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and then in Egypt, Moses, and the wandering for 40 years, the receiving of the covenant, the constitution for the new nation, and then the entrance into the promised land, and the period of the judges, and now the era of the kings, and the building of the temple, and it's gone. There's a point at which you cannot push God any further. even his own people. Those he calls his children, his own, his nation. There's a point of no return. Even the temple they leveled. The Holy of Holies. God was no longer there. They carried away the treasures of Judah, including some of the finest young talents, some of the finest young men. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Babylonians would say, you fall down and you worship the image. We'll never worship your image. You'll be cast into the fiery furnace. Cast us in. Our God can protect us from the fire. If he doesn't, we burn up. These Judeans, these Jews, these Israelites in exile. They carry away Ezekiel. And Ezekiel became the countryside preacher. And he would share with them, see these dry bones, these dusty dry bones, they can rise to life, and they will rise to life again. He was already filling them with the hope of going home again. Because that's what God had shared with him. But he preached in exile. The preacher, Ezekiel, the preacher to the remnant who would remain. And Daniel. If Ezekiel was the countryside preacher, Daniel was the capital city preacher. He would preach to power. He would preach to kings. So much impresses me about them. I want you to turn to chapter 1. Page 1369 in your pew Bible, page 1369. Let's look in the time we have left at this man David, who preached to power during the time of the exile. In Daniel 1, look at verse 4. He was one of these young men. We don't know why Babylon took these young men away, perhaps to send them back as rulers who would be sympathetic to Babylon later. Perhaps just to punish Judah. We don't know. Page 1369, chapter 1, verse 4, young men without physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. Now you're talking about men like Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Daniel. You can even throw Ezekiel into that. He was to teach them the language and literature of the Babylonians, so they put someone in charge to brainwash these young men. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine from the king's table. They were to be trained for 3 years, and after that, they were to enter the king's service. Among these were some from Judah: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. the chief official gave them new names. He called them Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But look at verse 8. Now understand the context here. Daniel's been taken into captivity. He's a very young man. They're wanting to teach him their ways, eat their food, and look at verse 8. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. Daniel's a remarkable man. I'm so impressed with Daniel, number one, for his faithfulness. How do you do that? How does your whole life crumble and your whole nation overrun and you are taken captive as a slave to the capital city of Babylon? And it looks like you're going to make it through because they want to train you. They want to work with you. They want to teach you. But this is the food you must eat. And how do you look at that power and say, I'm not going to eat that? I'm a man of God. How do you do that? Do you have the faithfulness today? He goes on in his wisdom to say, put us to the test. Let me and my friends eat God's diet and see if we don't look just as good as the others and they look better. Praise God. So the servant, the king, he just allowed all of them in and demanded that they all eat the diet of God's people. There's so much about Daniel that is so amazing. His faithfulness in his youth. His wisdom. Turn to chapter 5. Turn to chapter 5 and look at verse 3 with me just for a second. Chapter 5, verse 3. Look at the wisdom of this young man. King Belshazzar, a new king now, was having a party. And in verse 3, so they brought in the gold goblets that had been taken from the temple of God in Jerusalem. And the king and his nobles, his wives, and his concubines drank with them. As they drank the wine, they praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. Suddenly the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall near the lampstand in the royal palace. The king watched the hand as it wrote. His face turned pale. He was so frightened that his knees knocked together and his legs gave way. The handwriting on the wall comes out of the book of Daniel, that whole phrase. You read it here. The king sought for wisdom. No one had any wisdom for him except Daniel. We don't have time to read it all, but look at verse 26. The words that have been written by the hand. This is what these words mean, verse 26. Mene, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. The wisdom of Daniel. This is what these words mean. Belshazzar, the number of days of Babylon is over. You've been weighed on the scales and found wanting by Jehovah God. Your kingdom is divided. It's going to be given to the Medes and the Persians. And look at verse 30. That very night, Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain. And Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. Just like Daniel had said. So much impresses me about Daniel. His faithfulness in his youth, his wisdom. Of course, his prophecies. People study his prophecies today like never before. We can't look at all of them, but go to chapter 8 and look at verse 21. Look at a prophecy here in chapter 8 and verse 21. He's interpreting these visions, God through him. But in verse 21 of chapter 8, the shaggy goat is the king of Greece, and the large horn between his eyes is the first king. In other words, after you, the Medes and Persians, there's going to be another world empire. Daniel said there would be 4. Guess how many there were? 4. This would be the third one. It would be Greece. How would he know years and years before it ever happened that that small peninsula would eventually take over the Medes and the Persians, the mighty empire, and be a mighty empire of its own? How would he know that his first leader would be Alexander the great horn, and the 4 horns? Most likely, the 4 generals would take over the empire after he was gone. He called Greece. How could he even know? There's no way a human being could know. Look in chapter 9, verse 24. Look at this. We've gone over this before, so I'll just go through it quickly. But in chapter 9, verse 24, 77s are decreed for your people and your holy city to finish transgression, to put an end to sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. 77s are decreed for God's people to atone for their unrighteousness. He goes on to say, no one understand this from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed one, the ruler, comes. There'll be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. So until the anointed one, the offspring, comes, there will be 69 of these sevens. 483. Let's keep reading. It'll be rebuilt with streets and a trench, but in times of trouble. Verse 26, after the 62 sevens, the anointed will be cut off and will have nothing. The people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city and sanctuary. The end will come like a flood. War will continue to the end, and desolations have been decreed. Don't have time to unwrap all that. He will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7. In the middle of the 7, he'll put an end to the sacrifice and offering. Now, if you add all that up to all that, from the time the decree was issued to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem until the time that the anointed one was cut off, 483 years. that's when Jesus was crucified and buried in the tomb. Somehow Daniel did. But he also prophesied there will be another 7 years. He was cut off. There's another 7 years yet to come. We call them the 7 years of tribulation in the book of Revelation. Half of those years will seem good. Half of them, the Antichrist will rear his true intention. Daniel knew that too. Verse 27, he'll confirm a covenant with many for 1 7. In the middle of the 7, 3.5 years, he'll put an end to the sacrifice. So apparently, Israel is going to rebuild the temple, and apparently there's going to be sacrifice again. And apparently the whole world's going to say, we should have done this long ago. The Antichrist will just smile and nod before he cuts it off. In the time of tribulation, goes into effect. We can't, in a few minutes, go through that. That's why we have Wednesday night going deep. Just know this. It's remarkable that Daniel could know these things. It's divine. So impressed with Daniel. Daniel, his faithfulness, his wisdom, his prophecies. Turn back to chapter 6. Back to chapter 6. And look at verse 9. If I were to ask you, what do you know about Daniel? Most of you probably would have said, lions. And that's the first thing I learned about Daniel growing up, too. The deliverance of God is life. That's not what impresses me the most. I know God delivers us. That's not what impresses me most here. But look at verse 9. So King Darius put the decree in writing. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, now what was this decree? You will not pray to anyone except Darius. Well, Daniel was used to praying to Jehovah God. He would face Jerusalem and pray to Jehovah God. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. He did not stop. He was an old man now. With the Medes and the Persians taking over from the Babylonians, they set the exiles free to go home if they chose. Many chose to go back to Jerusalem. Many stayed where they were. They were now comfortable, many of them, in Babylon and now Persia. Daniel stayed. And nothing much changes. You pray to me, not to your God. I pray to God. I'm so impressed with Daniel's faithfulness, his wisdom, his prophecies, and his faithfulness again in his old age. He was faithful in his youth. But how few are still faithful in their old age? Daniel. I mean, after you've lived a while, and after you've seen the world for a while, and after you've wondered where God is for a while, after you wonder why it's going the way it is, and now I'm in my 80s, not in my teens anymore, I'm in my 80s, and I'm still dealing with kings saying, I'm going to throw you in the lion's den if you don't pray to me. When most of us would have said, God, where are you? I'm seeing nothing here. Daniel, even in his old age, is still faithful. And to me, that's most. You won't go through, most likely, what he went through. And it's pretty easy when you're young and you're that young preacher, you're that young adult, and I'm just going to serve my God. If they slay me, so be it. I'm going to serve my God. Then the world begins to pound on you and pound on you and pound on you and pound on you. You begin to think, man, this is starting to sting. I've been doing this for decades, and I'm not seeing a lot of results. Not Daniel. 3 times a day, he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had always. Wow. I am praying as we begin this new year that you will be that faithful. You'll be faithful in your youth. And you'll be faithful. Even after you've been pounded on by Satan for a while, you'll continue.